Last week, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, named by Pope Benedict to represent the Vatican in the Jewish state of Israel, declared that, quote, Israel's existence as such has nothing to do with the Bible, end quote. He then compared Christians' condition in today's Jerusalem with Jesus' passion, quote, we Christians never forget that even our Lord himself suffered and was mocked in Jerusalem. The Latin Patriarch's position on Israel and the Bible has been embraced at the highest levels in the Catholic Church. The Vatican Synod in 2010 declared that Israel cannot use the biblical concept of a promised land or a chosen people. They said, quote, we Christians cannot speak about the promised land for the Jewish peoples. The Synod's document said, there is no longer a chosen people. The concept of the promised land cannot be used as a base for the justification of the return of Jews to Israel and the displacement of Palestinians. And this is where the evil of replacement theology had its origins in the Roman Catholic Church. And it is still heavily propped up today by the Pope and his administration. Is it no wonder why the Orthodox Jews are rejecting Jesus Christ? Is it no wonder why the Orthodox Jews spit when they say the word Christian? It is because, by and large, this is the only brand of Christianity that many of them ever hear of. Think of these unbelievably unbiblical or biblically illiterate statements that were just made by the representative of the Pope in Israel. Quote, Israel's existence as such has nothing to do with the Bible. Yet even in Deuteronomy, God declares that the nation of Israel would be used as a last days sign that he is God and that beside him there is no other, and that Israel is his chosen nation to be a witness to the world, and that God himself would bring them back to the land as that witness in the last days. That's in the book of Deuteronomy where it begins, and it is found throughout the Old Testament from there. Israel has everything to do with the Bible. It seems the Roman Catholic Church has very little to do with the Bible. The second statement, quote, we Christians never forget that even our Lord himself suffered and was mocked in Jerusalem. As if we Christians are different from the Jews. Jesus was a Jew. When God put on human flesh, he put on Jewish flesh. The Jews rejected Jesus, you might say. Yes, many did, but not all. Remember, the entire early church was made up of Jews. All of Jesus' disciples were Jews. The entire early church was made up of Jews for almost 2 decades until the Apostle Paul came along. The entire New Testament was written by Jews. And then the last statement, there is no longer a chosen people. The concept of the promised land cannot be used as a base for the justification of the return of Jews to Israel and the displacement of Palestinians. Well, Mr. Pope, Mr. Representative of the Vatican, you better read Romans 11 for starters, where the Bible declares that Israel has always been God's chosen people. They will always be a chosen people, and the returned nation of Israel is a biblically prophesied last-day sign to the world. Read Ezekiel chapter 37 and 38 and 39. On top of that, there has never been a Palestinian nation in that land, and no Palestinian nation has ever been displaced by anyone. Go back and check history and show me where that has happened. It is a fact that Israel has nukes. It is also a fact that they have never used them offensively, even defensively to this day. On the other hand, if the Palestinians had nukes, how long do you think it would take for them to use them offensively on Israel and on the United States, maybe even on Rome and the Vatican itself? Recently, the Pope called the Bible and Jesus a lie by declaring that evolution is a fact and that unbelievers can make it to heaven by simply being good people. Now his direct representative in Israel says Israel's existence has nothing to do with the Bible. Folks, the last days apostasy is upon us. We are living in prophetic times. If you're not right with Jesus Christ, it is time to get right with him now. Romans 10:9 says, if you would confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, you shall be saved.